So today I'm going to speak to you about verrucas in children. I'm going to do a separate video about verrucas in adults, so please see that one because treatment options are slightly different. Essentially it's the same thing, but there are differences. So in this video it's regarding verrucas within children. So what are they? Essentially verrucas are a wart, and it's the HPV virus which is responsible for many different warts of various strains, and these warts have tendencies and prefer different parts of the body. So different strains like different parts of the body. So within the feet we call them verrucas, but there are many strains that do infect the feet. So what do we do with them? How do we catch them? So essentially, how do we catch them? Wherever you're going barefoot in an area where other people are going barefoot, you run the risk of catching whatever anybody else has got. So with regard to children, they're quite frequently with their shoes and socks off in PE lessons, for swim, gymnastics, things like that. And so it's kind of share and share alike, really. So the common belief is where you get abrasions or little rubs, breaks in the skin, if that's then exposed to the HPV virus in that area, you go on then to develop a verruca. So what can you do about them? Well, what do they look like, first of all? They tend to be like quite lumpy little areas. They can be various sizes and shapes depending on what kind of strain they are, but often the tissue, instead of looking like fingerprint skin with the lines in it, it looks quite dotty. So you'll get kind of like spotty areas, and sometimes you do get the little black dots which are synonymous with verruca. There's a lot of debate over what those black dots are, but essentially they're quite common within verruca. So they can come on any part of the foot, but more often than not it's in the area where that initial transmission was received, so where they initially picked it up, and then once it's kind of in the vicinity they can spread out to other parts of the feet. Are they contagious to the rest of the family? Well, if you've not been exposed to that particular strain before, then the answer is yes. Unfortunately, they can spread within family groups. So you need to be aware of that with regard to your sort of general hygiene within the household and showers and baths, etc. Are they life-threatening or anything to be really worried about with regard to your health? No. Simple answer is absolutely not. More often than not, they don't cause any pain. The pain that tends to happen is where you get a layer of hard skin that develops over those pressure point areas where the verruca often is, and that is what causes any discomfort, where shoes press on it or the ground is pressing on it. So if you're not getting any real pain with it, then realistically, what do you need to do about it? Well, I always suggest if you're going into areas where you're likely to be going sort of barefoot, or where you could essentially pass it on to someone else, cover it over. There are verruca socks available, or just a good waterproof plaster that completely occludes the area is also just as good. It's not going to do you any good, but it just means you're going to reduce that transmission to other people. What do you do if it is causing pain? Well, you can come and see someone like myself who can reduce any of the hard skin over the top using a blade, which tends to not be at all painful. It sounds awful, but it really isn't that bad. It just kind of takes off those top layers that are causing that extra pressure. Now, many parents panic when they see verrucas on their kids. Please don't. It's so common. It's absolutely normal. Doing nothing is not a bad thing. I really recommend leaving them. Let nature take its course. Now, when I mean that, I mean the child's own immune system. That is its best defence against verrucas that there is. And children's immune systems work slightly differently to adults' ones. They're still getting to know what they need to do to deal with certain bacteria, viruses, things like that. And so once they figure that out, they really do effectively get rid of them. So you'll find that whereas you'll have this verruca, and often they get worse before they get better, which is another kind of kickstart to that immune system. So don't panic if they seem to be multiplying all over the place. Don't panic unless they're causing any pain or discomfort. That's often a good sign. They tend to get worse before they get better. So give them some time in order to resolve themselves. That is the number one thing. So no treatment is a good treatment, and it's actually the one I primarily recommend within children. Now, like I say, if they are causing pain, we can reduce any build-up over the top of the verruca to improve that discomfort until they do go on their own. But there are things over the counter like your bazooka, etc., your Q-Plex gels. They're all essentially the same sort of product, which is salicylic acid in differing degrees, which can soggy it up and cause kind of a blistering thing. Now, for some children that can make them more painful, for others it can just help because it makes them more spongy and more comfortable, but success rates in all verruca treatments aren't brilliant. There is a verruca treatment we do offer here primarily over all the other treatments, but we don't really recommend that for children because, like I say, in nearly every child they will go on their own. So please don't panic that if your child has a verruca you really need to see us, unless you're having problems or they're having problems. You know, you can manage this at home just by gently filing any hard areas over the top to keep those comfort levels okay, and say one day they'll just get up and they'll either just drop off or they've just gone altogether. Now, we're always here. If you do have any questions or concerns, by all means you can get in touch. Sometimes I can just chat to you over the phone, or if you want to bring your child into us, we're perfectly happy to see them as well. But the biggest thing is, don't panic. It's really okay. All my children have had them and none of them have got them now, and I did absolutely nothing because being my children, they wouldn't let me go anywhere near them. But yeah, please don't panic. If you do have any questions, just get in touch. And yeah, see you soon. Bye.